only is it the only vest that can stop handgun, shotgun strike, /stab tasers, armor-piercing ammunition. We've been over that a million.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Robert Bob TV Brown. It's been a long 2 days, man. I can tell you that. Let me see if I can get myself up here. Give me a moment. All right. How you doing today? All right. So let's talk about a couple of things first, and then I'm going to get into an old series that I did in 2017, I believe, called Dumb DNC Mistakes, that I said if you're going to make those mistakes in the next election, you're going to guarantee another 4 years of Trump. And they're clearly making those mistakes. So I want to make sure I'm going to play the whole playlist. So it's about 6 videos going to be playing. I don't expect everybody to stay up here. I'll probably play them on a loop for a little bit, because a lot of people need to understand the mistakes that the Democratic National Committee continue to make. That's costing them election after election after election. Sure, you might win in a Democratic primary because of your shenanigans and your twisting. There's so many things that they're doing to continue to do what they did with Hillary Clinton. Look, we already knew that this thing wasn't going to go, that they're going to do everything in power to keep this man from winning. They're trying to make it look like it's a legitimate strategy that they're using, and it's not. You know, you can't use super delegates, so you use the power of endorsements to have people thinking that this guy is the choice. And then we got so many people that's blindly follow the leader type of people. They don't make their own decisions. They don't use their own brain when it comes to certain things. They just say, hey, if that's the way we go, that's the way we go. Yeah, you know, I talk about my relationship with my church. You know, finding the church is not easy. A lot of people are not religious. A lot of people stay away from churches because some of the churches are full of crap. The leadership is full of crap. There's a lot of manipulation going on in the church. So you have to be very careful. If you're a spiritual person and you believe in your faith, you got to be very careful on where you go and where you're going to fellowship at. And then you got to get to know your leadership, and you really got to get to know your leadership. And a lot of people not like that with the Democratic Party. A lot of people not like that with the Republican Party. And when it comes to black people, we've been groomed to understand that only one party cares about us. But when you find out from the histories of most philosophers that were black, you find that neither one of these parties care 2 cents about you. They're there for themselves. They just need your vote. They're not going to do anything for you unless you push them. And you're going to have to push them. Unless you apply the pressure on them, and you're going to have to apply the pressure. Unless you strike fear in them, they ain't going to move your direction. It has to be done. That's why a lot of people got scared when people started talking about, these people talking about reparations. Do you realize most people that are part of the ADOS movement, they're not your natural, normal, blindly follow the leader type of black person. I mean, they're fed up with their situation. So they trying to apply the pressure for change. And you're going to have to do that here in this election because the Democratic Party ain't going to change. They're going to stay the same way. Well, we'll change the leadership. How's that going? They're not going to let you change the leadership. They'll rather kill themselves before they let some progressive or some outsider or some populist come in to change the party. We're corrupt, and that's just the way we are. Just like the Republicans, we're corrupt, and that's the way they are. See, Donald Trump forced them. He forced their hands because he know he had the power, his base on his side. And he know his base is so in love with him that neither one of these Republicans would dare challenge him because he got the people on his side. His people, not all people, his people. So you dare to challenge the great Donald Trump? Are you crazy? No, so they're not going to challenge Donald Trump because they know Donald Trump can primary somebody to get him out of office. So they fear that. So they kiss his behind. Democratic Party don't want that. They want to shut Bernie Sanders down because Bernie Sanders have the power to develop an organization to challenge you out of office. He is the vanguard of that, and that's the reason why they hate him, because he decided to be a template to challenge Hillary Clinton since Elizabeth Warren wasn't doing it. And their job right now is to crush the movement. I don't know how I got on this, but I'm on it now. Their job is to crush the movement, to make a mockery of it, to shame it. There's so many factors on why Bernie Sanders is not doing as good as he did last time. Like, you, first of all, at the beginning, you had 150 people running against you, which takes away the voice of the people who we really want to win, but we got to shut them up because if they start opening their mouth, they'll put their foot in it. You realize having a bunch of people on the debate stage was a key strategy to keep the limits of talking and discussing and answering questions from being put out in the audience that would deter. See, you really notice that every time when Joe Biden was on that debate stage, he looked dumber and dumber and dumber, and people tuned him out. And even fellow Democrats challenged him on his dumbness or ability to remember Julian Castro and Cory Booker talking about you look like you're high right now and all that kind of stuff. Made him look dumb. So right now, of course, the Democratic Party is going to try to change the debate look. Of course, we got a debate coming up Sunday that, Bernie Sanders is a proficient debater. It's not that many people that can debate Bernie Sanders. And if you go back and look at some of his debates, he make you look stupid. And I just look at the different debates that he had. I wouldn't call them debates, but when he were grilling people like Bernanke, people like Alan Greenspan, getting in their behind, man. You go back and look at those old videos. Democratic Party, no, they don't want Joe Biden to go through that. Because right now, Joe Biden's name recognition is alone to win. See, Bernie Sanders, even though he got name recognition, when it comes to certain communities, Joe Biden's going to be their man to vote for because of who he was side by side with. Oh, that's Barack Obama's best friend. That's Barack Obama picked him, so that must mean something. That must mean he like black people. You don't understand about white supremacy? White supremacy love to cloak themselves around black people to make them seem like they're friends of black people, to kind of keep them in a certain position where they can't uprise and take over. They cloak themselves around black people. Why you think if you ever watched Django Unchained, one of my favorite movies, why you think Mr. Candy had Stephen to pretty much run the plantation? Everybody listen to Stephen. It's called The Law of Buy-In. John Maxwell, good book. See, they bought into Stephen, not Mr. Candy. But at the end of the day, Mr. Candy run the plantation. That's Candyland. And Stephen was so more protective over Candyland than Mr. Candy himself. He was worse to the slaves than the people of Candyland than Mr. Candy himself. And that's what we got going on in this party with these bootlicks out here trying to cover up and caping and all that stuff. I mean, look, I always stay on the policies. I don't care who you are. I stay on the policies. So let me get into this serious dumb DNC mistakes. These are some old videos, but the principles are true. The principles are true. The Democratic Party, you should already knew that they're not going to let you win this. If you win it, you got to take it, and you got to be aggressively taken. I was reading the scripture today. It said about the righteous, and when it comes to take things, you got to take it by force. You can't ask for it. I'm gonna talk about this another day too. Bernie Sanders got to get off this Joe Biden, my friend mess. Bro, look there. When you in a fight, when you're in a boxing ring, ain't no friendship. That ain't your boy. That's your opponent, and your job is to knock him out quick, fast. When you go up and get weighed, you look at each other eyeball to eyeball. You don't say, that's my friend. You give him a dap and you're hugging them when you're getting ready to do the weigh-in. The weigh-in is when y'all about to scrap. I mean, y'all got to bring the heat on so people can tune into the fights. You go on saying, that's my friend, and giving him a pound and hugging him and all that stuff in the weigh-in. Nobody's tuning into that fight. So when you step in the arena, or you step in the wrestling ring, step in the boxing ring or the octagon or whatever, there is no friends. Well, you know, Joe Biden's a good friend of mine. That is what's killing you. This is the thing that's going to kill you in this election. This is why you losing right now when you know you could win. People are not going to come out in massive numbers when you calling the person who is in direct conflict of what they need in their lives. When the man just sit there and say on Lawrence O'Donnell that, you know, if it means that it's going to stop people from getting the health care that they need right now, I'm going to veto Medicare for all. That's a direct slap in the face of most Americans who say they support Medicare for all. That's your friend? The man who said he'll veto Medicare for all? Well, he didn't necessarily. The bottom line, he said he will veto it. Why would you veto it? You don't say veto. You just said, you know, if you worried about your boy and his ability, his plan that he fought hard for, which, by the way, Bernie Sanders helped him get over the hump to get Obamacare, which is really Romney Care, which is really a Republican health care plan. That Obama wouldn't have never ever got that if it wasn't for people like Bernie Sanders who worked both sides of the aisle to try to get it done. Yeah, Bernie Sanders played a big part in that. But Bernie Sanders knew it wasn't enough. Why would you vote for somebody that's in direct opposition of what you need? Now, the basic things that you need, and that's where we are right now. And the basic things that you need, because people can sit there and talk all that trash, and I know you got your agendas, but you know you need Medicare for all. Everybody need Medicare. Nobody wants to go to the doctor and go in debt trying to get medical help, especially with this coronavirus. If they told you coronavirus, in order to get the antidote or get the cure, is $2,000, and you got it, you're going to go in debt trying to get that $2,000. You're going to put your house up. You probably, you know, prostitute your mama, whatever. You know, you do whatever you can to stay alive. And you want, then people like this guy talking about, I'll veto it. He is not for Medicare for all. He is not for tuition free. And that's the term. It's called tuition free public schools, not free. It's tuition free. You still got to pay for your books. You look at the plan. Everything is there. And educational bill of Bernie Sanders is not free. It's tuition free. People don't even take it out. People want to go down and trash people's plans and talk about people like a dog and never really looked at the plan. Never read the plan. I'm still reading it because there's so much in it. For an example, when it comes to the crime bill was super horrible. And the more I read it, the more horrible it is. But then I also seen the trickery and the con game that politicians played on their so-called colleagues to force them to sign that bill. Some people, literally, if you didn't sign it, your career as a politician was over. And then the things that you came there to fight for, you have no shot to fight for because of the pork that they put in it to kind of twist your arm to sign it. Now, still, some of this stuff, I still say it was just worth you taking that risk of not getting reelected, because you're about to hurt people's lives. You're about to devastate people. But let me get on this. All right, so that's what I wanted to start off with, and appreciate you guys being on. Let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. This is called dumb DNC mistakes. The very thing that caused them to lose to Donald Trump is going to be the very thing that caused them to lose to Donald Trump again in 2020. The only difference is it may be Joe Biden instead of Hillary Clinton. Now, look, the game ain't over with. You got a certain amount of delegate thresholds you got to get to. There's a 200 delegate gap. One state can even that gap. A couple of states can put another person in the lead. You never quit the basketball game when it's 60 to 80, and you still got 2 more quarters to go. So people saying, why he not conceding? Fool, is you dumb? Who quits? It's not even halftime yet. The game is 80-60. We got 2 more quarters. What fool quit? You got to play the game to the end. Then you concede defeat. All right, so we're going to take a look at this these series, Dumb DNC Mistakes. It's about 4 videos, guys. I'm not expecting you guys to stay up here. Matter of fact, I got some paperwork I got to do. I'm going to be doing this paperwork for organization I'm going to be working with soon. But let these videos play out, and it's on the video playlist on the website. Share it on social media. 10 dumb DNC mistakes. All right, let's take a look at it.
Hi, I'm Rex Moore with the Motley Fool in front of BMW's self-driving exhibit at CES in Las Vegas. Now, have you ever wondered how to invest in this?
All right, of course, we got these commercials. Let me get past the commercials.
Well, I'm going to give you...
Can you guys hear that?
Hey, this is your boy Bob TV. Welcome to Freedom on Fire. We're going to go through a series, and this is the first one. And this one is entitled, Where We Went Wrong and What We Got to Do to Make It Right. Primarily talking about what the DNC and the elite, establishment elite, did wrong in this election that caused a Donald Trump presidency. A lot of things I've talked about and other progressive leaders talked about these things that was going to mess up. And I'm going to go through each one of them. So the first mistake was mocking and joking your opponent. Watch this.
I'll leave it to you to speculate on how this whole race is going to go. I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
What Trump would say if he actually had a record like this, instead of selling steaks. Has anybody tried that wine? How good can that wine be? Selling stuff like it's the Home Shopping Network. If somebody starts tweeting at 3 in the morning because SNL made fun of you, then you can't handle the nuclear code.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
All I want to say is that anybody, from the Democratic side of the fence who thinks that, who's terrified of the possibility of President Trump, better vote, better get active, better get involved, because this man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
Next, I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on. Sorry.
It doesn't make sense for you to ridicule a person. See, Donald Trump could have been playing you guys for a fool. He has to have some kind of knowledge somewhere for him to take what money his dad gave him. Yes, he gave him $1 million, but he turned that $1 million to billions at one time. Whether you want to dispute how much money he's worth or not, that's not the point. The point is, he has been listed in Forbes as a top billionaire, something no politician have done except Ross Perot. no politician has done. He's been listed in Forbes magazine, which means he has achieved a level of success, best-selling author, TV celebrity, branding expert, and for him to achieve that kind of success, regardless of how you want to dispute it, the man has been successful. That proves that he is not a joke. He is for real. As a branding expert, he branded everything from his name to the fonts on his name. But you took him for a joke. You laughed at him and you mocked him. The establishment on the Republican side laughed and mocked him, and he beat all of them and beat them badly. And then on the Democratic side, they still said, well, Hillary Clinton is going to mop the floor with them. Wrong, extremely wrong. Never underestimate your opponent. When you think you're winning, you better fight like you're losing. And that philosophy was not played in this election, and that's why you lost. You poke fun at him at being a clown when he made this person look like a clown, and now all of us are looking like a clown. You got to understand this. The clown played clown to suck you in. He played to his base, and he played to it in each state. The establishment mocked him, and now he's the president of the United States. So the biggest mistake we can't make in 2018 and 2020 is never underestimate your opponent, because the weakest person that you're looking at in this fight may be the one to knock your butt out. I'm Bob TV. Peace.
See that bright brain full of activity? That's a healthy 18-year-old brain. Mine is the other one, 55 years old and getting dimmer all the time.
Hey, welcome to Bob TV, Freedom on Fire. How you doing today? Look, we're still on this thing about what went wrong and what we need to make it right, how we need to make it right. All right, this is one of the things that just behooves me. You got to understand the reason why Trump won that election is because people are tired of establishment politics. Bernie Sanders told you over and over and over and over again that establishment politics will not work in this election. These people want something different. They want something fresh. They want something new. They want something that's tailor-made to fit for them, the people. And when you put in office a person who's tied up, too many ties to Wall Street, too many ties to lobbyists, too many ties to corporatism, too much ties to globalism, when you put that person as the general election candidate, you're gonna lose. The person that you need to have running is a person that speaks the language of the people, the person who have the heart of the people. That person can't be wearing all these Armani suits. That person can't be flying in all these jets and riding in these expensive cars and be tied to 3, 4, 5 houses. That person has to have a popular. Now, Donald Trump, he has those, but he wasn't part of Washington. And that means, according to some people, he wasn't establishment politics. He's just a rich billionaire that's going to try to do whatever he can, almost like a Robin Hood. Or let me say, not Robin Hood, because Robin Hood was broke. he stole and gave to the poor. But almost like a rich Robin Hood, saying we're going to take from these elites and give to you. You can't run those type of candidates. You got to run a populist campaign. That message has to be an inspiring message of what we're going to do for you. First, let me back it up. First, you need to go out to the public and ask the public what they want. And you need to fit that in a frame and make that your platform. Now, we already did that. The progressives did that for you. Jill Stein, wonderful platform. Bernie Sanders' platform, wonderful. Jill Stein platform is Bernie Sanders' platform on steroids. She's speaking the language. Both of them speaking the language. Free college. You shouldn't have to pay for public colleges. We're going to make that absolutely tuition free. Matter of fact, we're going to get rid of your college debt. So if you're from 15 to 50 and you're in college, because there are some 15-year-olds in college, and you're 50 years old still paying debt, we're going to eliminate that. We're going to free you up so you can take that money and invest in your family. Go have some kids, man. You know, you ain't got your degree. Open up your practice. You know, free them up. You know, and a whole host of things. $15 an hour minimum wage. You know, strengthening unions. Things like that. You got to have a message that the people want to hear, not a message that you want the people to hear. You get me? Big mistake. The biggest mistake was this fight for Bernie Sanders' platform in order to get his endorsement. I can understand why he had to do what he had to do, but to fight that platform, that was the platform that people came out in the droves to hear. Had Hillary Clinton adopted that platform and denounced all this other ties, and I did a video saying how you can beat Trump and beat Trump badly. I told you exactly what to do. Had she did this, she would have won. So, mistake. Running your own message that you think is good for America. How to correct it? Find out from America what they want and what they need and give it to them. That's the key to winning the House. And have your House and the Senate, people who are running for that office, have them campaign on that. I'm telling you now, you need to draft it now if you want to win. I'll not tell you anything because I'm done with the Democratic Party. But I still vote Democratic. I vote however I want to vote. I'm a freestyle voter. I'm telling you, you need to find out what the people want and give it to them. From the city level, from the state level, and from the United States level. If you don't, you will lose again. I'm Bob TV.
Are you tired of the media spinning the truth and pushing false narratives? Well, take a look at this. Over the last 3
Dumb DNC mistake, this one is huge. Running a pathological lying candidate for president. One of the reasons why the rest of America did not vote for Hillary Clinton is because they see her as untrustworthy. The polls showed that the only person that can beat her in lying is Trump, and sometimes that was a back and forth thing. And Clinton has a history of flip-flopping like a dolphin, baby. Flip-flopping like those shoes you wear, them thongs that you wear to the beach. You know how they flop in the back? I mean, she flip-flopped like a fish falling out of a fish tank, you know? She has flip-flopped in so many issues. Now, there's such thing as a change of mind. But when you habitually have a viewpoint on this area and then you're flipping on it for the sake of votes or for the sake of being convenient with a certain demographic, that's just called a punk sucker. You know me, I told you straight out, I'm not 100% progressive. Most of the progressive values that I've seen on the platform, I do promote. There's some things that I'm still working on, but that's me and me alone. You can't convince me of that. I have to look at the pros and cons on that. For example, I'm a churchgoer and I believe a lot of stuff in scriptures, but I realize that we don't live in a theocracy. We live in a democracy. And because I'm a democratic person, we're in a democracy, the law of the land rules, not the law of scripture rule or the law of a king rule here. That is for your personal life. And hopefully it can take effect on somebody else's life that will motivate them to gravitate toward scripture or gravitate toward kingdomship like I do. So, you know, like for an example, nobody should be discriminated. I don't care for what reason. Nobody should bully. I don't care about for what reason. I mean, there's certain things that I am for and there's certain things I'm not for. I have some conservative values. I have a lot of progressive values. And sometimes I'm in the middle on some things. So I'm not 100% left, 100% right. I'm not even 100% in the middle. I'm just, I don't know how to explain to you. I'm a hybrid. That's just who I am. And I appreciate all sides, but I lean more toward the progressive side because of what it adds to the people, how it promotes people, how it encourages people. Now, let me get off that. DNC dumb mistake. Running a pathological liar for president. Here's my proof.
Will you say anything to get elected?
Well, actually, I have been very consistent over the course of my entire life. I have always fought for the same values and principles.
You know, I get accused of being kind of moderate and center. I plead guilty.
Just for the record, are you a progressive or are you a moderate?
I'm a progressive.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified materials.
I never sent or received any classified material. They are retroactively classifying it.
From the group of 30,000 emails returned to the State Department in 2014, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received.
I have absolute confidence that everything that could be in any way connected to work is now in the possession of the State Department.
The FBI also discovered several thousand work-related emails that were not among the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton to State in 2014.
By the way, you may have seen that I recently launched a Snapchat account. I love it. I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system. They were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
This pile represents the emails that you sent or received about Libya in 2011, from February through December of 2011. This pile represents the emails you sent or received from early 2012 until the day of the attack. There are 795 emails in this pile. We've counted them. There are 67 emails in this pile in 2012. And I'm troubled by what I see here. I can only conclude by your own records that there was a lack of interest in Libya in 2012.
Do you change your political identity based on who you're talking to?
No.
When you talk to the public, you say, I turned over everything.
90 to 95% of my work-related emails were in the state system. If they wanted to see them, they would certainly have been able to do so. You know what?
That is maybe the 10th time you have cited that figure today.
It is.
And I have not heard anyone other than you ever cite that figure. Who told you that 90 to 95% of your emails were in the State Department system? Who told you that?
We learned that from the State Department in their analysis of the emails that were already on the system.
The Inspector General report found that less than 1% of State Department emails, record emails, were captured. So they give a number of less than 1%, and you give a number of 90%.
The server contains personal communications from my husband and me.
Only time I got on the internet, I did 2 emails, and I ordered Christmas presents from a reservation.
Looking back, it would have been better for me to use 2 separate phones and 2 email accounts. I thought using one device would be simpler, and obviously it hasn't worked out better. All my grandparents, came over here, and
Turns out only 1 was an immigrant, 3 were not.
Hillary Clinton's attempt to tout her foreign policy experience hounded her again on the campaign trail today.
I made a mistake in describing it.
She claims she misspoke last week and was sleep-deprived when she described landing under sniper fire in Tuzla, Bosnia, something that didn't happen. But CBS News has found several times in the past few months when Senator Clinton used the Bosnia trip to try to show her international experience. December in Iowa.
You know, we landed in one of those corkscrew landings and ran out because they said there might be sniper fire. I don't remember anybody offering me tea on the tarmac when that was happening.
Then in February.
The welcoming ceremony had to be moved inside because of sniper fire.
And last week.
I remember landing under sniper fire. We basically were told to run to our cars. Now that is what happened.
Differing accounts of your trip to Bosnia, and I'm wondering if you can clarify. I know you recall, ducking under sniper fire, and Sinbad in his account, who's on the trip, he said that the most dangerous part was remembering where he was going to eat next.
He's a comedian, you know, Jeff. He's a comedian.
So you actually recall, hearing gunfire, and were you
when we were flying into Bosnia, we came in a evasive maneuver. There was no greeting ceremony, and we basically were told to run to our cars. Now that is what happened.
After CBS News video showed what really happened when she landed and greeted officials, Senator Clinton maintained there were risks, but explained to the Philadelphia Daily News why she was seen on the Bosnian tarmac greeting a young child if it was really so dangerous.
I was also told that the greeting ceremony had been moved away from the tarmac, but that there was this 8-year-old girl, and I said, well, I can't rush by her. I've got to at least greet her. So I greeted her, I took her stuff, and I left. Now that's my memory of it.
Good to see you.
Once again, her memory doesn't match our videotape. She and her daughter Chelsea lingered on the tarmac to greet U.S. military officials. Took photos. There was the group of 7th graders on the tarmac too. And then Senator Clinton walked to the armored vehicle where she did eventually duck and enter.
Some have sought to justify this vicious behavior along with the protest that took place at our embassy in Cairo yesterday as a response to inflammatory material posted on the internet.
I also want to take a moment to address the video circulating on the internet that has led to these protests in a number of countries.
We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
Within 24 hours, you had a conversation with the Egyptian Prime Minister. You told him this: we know the attack in Libya had nothing to do with the film. It was a planned attack, not a protest.
That's why I'm the only candidate from the very beginning of this campaign who had a plan to help us revitalize coal country. We're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business.
It was one of the highlights of President Clinton's first term, passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as NAFTA. Critics blame NAFTA for the loss of manufacturing jobs in industrial states, including Ohio and Pennsylvania. Hillary Clinton helped get NAFTA approved. She held at least 5 meetings to strategize.
Let me say something right there. Let me break in. The person that we see in the lead when it comes to delegates was part of this, yet they go out and vote for this guy. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know. I really believe there's something going on with those computers. Ain't no way in hell or heaven you gonna tell me that Joe Biden is leading in a place where he personally had a hand in devastating that area. Something's got to be wrong. I mean, yeah, probably a whole bunch of things wrong with what Bernie part, but something else is up, that all these voters went out and supported the man who destroyed their economy. That just don't sit right with me. Now back to our scheduled program.
About how to win congressional approval. She helped the White House block opposition from labor and environmental groups, and she was the featured speaker at a crucial meeting. Participants in that event said, quote, her remarks were totally pro-NAFTA. There was no equivocation for her support for NAFTA at the time.
I have been a critic of NAFTA from the very beginning. My concerns about NAFTA expressed years ago have been well documented and verified. I didn't have a public position on it. I have spoken in
consistently against NAFTA.
And if you look at what I have been saying, it has been consistent.
I have been consistent.
You can go back and look at from the very beginning.
I was one of the voices in the administration warning about NAFTA.
You said it was good on balance for New York and America in 2004, and now you're in Ohio, and your words are much different, Senator. The record is very clear.
Well, you don't have all the records because you can go back and look at what I've said consistently.
Oh, I think that everybody is in favor of free and fair trade, and I think that NAFTA is proving its worth.
I think on balance, NAFTA has been good for New York and America.
Was NAFTA a mistake?
NAFTA was a mistake to the extent that it did not deliver on what we had hoped it would.
Was there a Secretary of State with the so-called line in the sand, which...
No, I wasn't. I was gone. I hate to interrupt you. What's the truth?
We rated her statement mostly false. She has a technical point that she was no longer part of the administration when the White House determined Assad had crossed the red line and used chemical weapons. But she actually did meet with White House officials, and she endorsed the policy. So she's really spinning the facts here.
I'ma keep on lying to you. Yeah. Until you think it's the truth.
Yeah. Like I said, whenever you run a consistent liar, and that's why running Hillary Clinton in 2016 was a bad idea. I don't care what kind of qualifications she so-called have. I don't care what kind of experience she so-called have. From what I know, they all have been failure experience. She failed the Secretary of State. That's why she couldn't do another 8 years, another 4 years, and she wasn't going to do it 4 years because she only want to use those years to put a notch on her belt to fool you into thinking that she is more qualified. She failed at that. She failed the state senator in New York. She only did like 2 good things, which was obvious. She ran in a place where she was going to dominate anyway. She didn't have no real challenger in those areas. I mean, the only challenger that could have challenged her was John F. Kennedy Jr., which died in a freak accident in a plane crash, or some other Kennedy. So she had no competition. So just because she had these years as state senator, just because she had these years as Secretary of State, all during those years she piled up these lies. She piled up these flip-flops. So here's another dumb DNC mistake in 2016 that bet not happen in 2018 or you will lose again. Is putting in place to run for office a pathological liar. Don't do it again, because if you do it again, people are not going to vote for her because they are him, because nobody wants to put in office anymore. More liars. More liars. Anyway, I'm Bob TV, baby. Don't put pathological liars in offices. People don't want that no more, and they're going to vote against it. I've warned you, don't do it. Peace.
And we're doing it again in the person of Joe Biden. It really gets me when Bernie Sanders always talking about how Trump is a pathological liar, and he is. But he don't never talk about Joe Biden and his pathological lies. I'm going to update this video and talk about Joe Biden's pathological lies. They're on the Facebook group. You can see them all on the Bob TV Facebook group, all the lies of Joe Biden. So here we are making the same dumb DNC mistakes. Let's go to the next video.
Looking to promote your business?
Hey, this your boy Bob TV. Hey, I'm supposed to be on my way to church. I think I'm late on, think I'm not gonna make it today. Messing around with y'all. Anyway, I want to talk about dumb DNC mistake 2016. Here's one of the dumb DNC mistakes. Hillary Clinton and her gutless, disgusting pandering to certain different demographics. Watch this.
We're going to have a lot of jobs from building infrastructure to coding, creating new apps. I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Oh, Pokemon go to the polls? Really? That is disgusting. That right there would have turned me off right there. Pokemon go to the polls? Oh, come on. But wait, there's more.
That you always carry with you.
Hot sauce.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Are you getting
information right now? Hot sauce. Hot sauce in my bag, Swag? Hot sauce. Really? Yes. Now listen, yes. I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people. Okay. Is it working?
I got hot sauce in my bag, Swag.
I got hot sauce in my bag? What, you gonna put it on your chicken? Your fried fish with cheese and grits? Oh, I like you. I'm gonna vote for you. Disgusting pandering. What about this one? Watch me whip. Watch me. Really? Nay-naying? What about this one?
I gotta ask you, do you know how to wobble?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you know how to wobble?
I don't.
You know how to wobble? You just lost the black vote right there.
Yeah.
Karen, the black folks in your staff will teach you how to do the wobble. Trust me.
Can you show me how to do it?
Oh, I can show you how to do it. You gonna pick up some votes, trust me.
But I gotta see it in order to know it.
You need some music. I don't really the music, but I'm just saying.
Okay, who can show me? Come on, don't be shy.
I told y'all Black Network we do a little bit different.
Well, you raised it. Now don't leave me hanging out here.
That's how I told y'all need the music. Don't let that.
Doing the wobble? What about this one?
I want to be as good a president as Beyonce is a performer. Thank you. Hello, Cleveland. What an incredible show. I just can't thank you all, and thanks to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And thanks to Chance the Rapper and J. Cole and Big Sean. When I see them here, this passion and energy and intensity, I don't even know where to begin, because this is what America is, my friend. We have a woman who is an inspiration to so many others. I thank her. I thank Beyonce for standing up and showing the world we are strongest when we look out for each other. And I thank Jay for addressing in his music some of our biggest challenges in the country. And remember, Jay memorably said something we should all recall. Rosa Parks sat so Martin Luther could walk, and Martin Luther walked so Barack Obama could run, and Barack Obama ran so all the children could fly. Well, we have unfinished business to do, more barriers to break, and with your help, a glass ceiling to crack once and for all.
Jay-Z and quoting Jay-Z lyrics? Wonder how many weeks it took for you to quote Jay-Z lyrics, man. Oh, I'm gonna quote these Jay-Z lyrics and I'm gonna get some votes. How about you go to the young people and say this from the jump start? I'm gonna do whatever I can to will my power to make sure you can get into public college for free. I don't care if you're a billionaire or a zillionaire or a no-naire, you're gonna get in college, public college for free. Now, if you're gonna go to a private college, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure you have enough funding for that. How about tell people that? How about tell them, look, you're in student debt, or if you plan on taking a loan to go to college, within the next, if you do that within the next next 5 to 10 years, we're going to eliminate that debt by the next 5 years. So you might have that debt by the time you get out of college, but after your first year out of college, we're going to eliminate that debt. We're going to put a freeze on the payments until that time. How about you say something like that? How about you say, look, if you are, you know, we're going to make sure you get you get your health care absolutely paid for. How about you say, hey, if you're coming out of college, we're going to give you a stipend to start your own business. How about you do that? How about you give us some policies instead of giving us some whip nay or the wobble or quoting Jay-Z lyrics or Pokemon Go? How about you give us that? That is a dumb DNC mistake. Pandering to your office, pandering to your audience to get votes, but yet at the other side of your mouth, you say they don't know what they're doing. They're living in the basement with their parents, or you call some of them deplorable, or you're calling some of them super predators. Come on. That is a dumb DNC mistake. Don't monkey around. The reason Donald Trump won this election again is he told it like it is. Whether he was going to do it or not, he said, "Look, I'm gonna put up a wall, and if you say one more word, it's gonna go up 3 feet higher." That's talk, straight talk. That's what the people needed, straight talk. They was getting it from Bernie. We're gonna vet any Muslim coming into this country, and we're gonna vet Muslims that's in this country that if they got a fictitious record of doing crime or doing wrong, people like that. Any Muslim coming to this country, we're going to vet them. Which is, anybody coming to the country need to be vetted. Whether it's Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter. They need to be vetted. If they're coming from another region, especially if a region where we've done more harm than good, I guess you have to vet them after you bomb up their home, and you bombed up their hospitals, and you bomb up their kids, and you done killed their kids, schools, and you done killed the kids, and killed the parents, and killed the grandparents. I guess you got to vet them. Now they're refugees, and they're coming in the United States because of our mess. So I guess you do got to vet them. But we're going to vet them, I'm going to bring jobs back. I'm going to bring all the jobs back. I'm going to give them incentives to move into black neighborhoods. I'm going to cut their taxes so we can get more businesses coming in. I was kind of critical about that, and I'm going to talk about that on another episode, this new Black Deal for Black America. Businesses decide to come back to the United States and come into the inner cities, I'm going to cut their taxes. And I was thinking, why would you cut their taxes? That's going to hurt us. I thought about it. No, if he cut their taxes, not only will he get one business that's coming into the inner city, he could probably get 5 or 10. That would make up for one business staying in the area and get 35% tax rate. When you can get 10 and cut their taxes, you're going to get more money because they're back in town. Anyway, so all this pandering and stuff like that, people don't like pandering. They don't like this suck-upness. They don't like this kiss, boop, all this kiss and butt stuff. No, tell it like it is. I'm going to bring your jobs back. You're going to have more, I'm going to cut your taxes. I'm going to cut taxes of business, but I'm going to cut it a little bit. I'm going to cut it down a little bit if they decide to come back in town, bring the jobs back here, and especially in the black community. I'm going to give them incentives. I'm going to give you an open option to pick the schools that you want to go to. Something Trump said. Schools that you want to do. If you want your child homeschooled, which I'm a fan of homeschools. I've been involved with kids that was homeschooled that's doing great things right now. There's some things I told you I'm conservative and I'm mostly progressive. There's some conservative. I like homeschooling. I know kids here in New York, charter school. If you go to a charter school, you come out excellent. The evidence is there, and it may not be good for those working there, but we work those things out. What I'm saying is, talk to people language and tell it like it is. Stop all this whip and nay. I'm Bob TV. Peace.
You can fix your hair like this, and then you can dab. And then, Mrs. President, you can sign a bill, and then you dab.
You may have seen that I recently launched a Snapchat account. I love it. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Man, sit your ass down.
Boy, man, sit your behind down. All right, so the same thing is going on in this election. The same thing is going on this election. Instead, because Joe Biden didn't have to kiss the black community behind. He figured the black community owed him his allegiance anyway because he was Barack Obama's vice president, and he yielded, or at least he say he yielded, to the leadership of a black man, and that should not make me a white supremacist. Really, dude? Really? Barack Obama was your makeover, man. Barack Obama painted you in blackface. Your policies, your record and your policies are still bigoted. You not only just voted for it, most of this stuff, you created it from a bigoted mind and a bigoted heart. And I don't see Joe Biden no different from Trump. Both of them are bigots. The difference between Joe Biden and Trump when it comes to bigotry is Trump don't know how to push his policies and get passed. Trump don't have that relationship with the Democratic Party. He don't have that relationship like that with the Republican Party. The Republican Party only do what they do out of fear for Trump. But with Joe Biden, they'll do whatever they do out of friendship. They love Joe Biden. Lindsey Graham loved Joe Biden. Joe Biden has gotten more Republican legislation passed than even Claire McCaskill and Heidi Heitkamp and what's his name? Joe is gone. But you know who I am. I know who I'm talking about over there in West Virginia. Ray Foley said Bernie throwing the fight, making sure that he lose. He's lying too. He's the sheepdog. We all know Bernie Sanders. He was the direct. They made him. Thank you for the super chat, people. Guys, if you're gonna do a super chat, send it to the PayPal.me account. YouTube will take probably most of that, but I really do appreciate it. Don't get it twisted. But do it through my PayPal account, paypal.me/BobTVNYC, all caps. Yeah, but he was the outreach director of the Democratic Party, so yes, he's the sheepdog. Now let's talk about sheepdog and recruiter for a second. A sheepdog is the purpose of a sheepdog is to keep the foxes from coming in and getting the sheep off the field. Anytime the sheepdog leave the field, anytime a sheep leave the field, the dog goes out and find that sheep to try to get them back on the plantation. Get them back on the field. But right now, they want to use Bernie Sanders as a recruiter. More than anything. But you're right. Now, for us throwing the fight, I get a lot of friends who believe that Bernie Sanders is just being used as a tool. I don't believe that. I really believe Bernie Sanders is being who he is. This is Bernie Sanders all day, every day for the past 30, 40 years. The problem is they ain't your friend, Bernie Sanders, and you need to stop trying to be their friends. You trying so hard to be part of a club that don't like you. They got pressure on them from their donors to move you out the freaking way because you causing problem for them. You causing their donors to cry at night, fear and clam up. You ever had you had a wife that was spouse and wife that was pregnant and she was going one of those mood swings, and it just ain't your day, bro. Leave her alone. You touch her, she'll liable to smack you. She just ain't feeling it. Well, the Democratic Party is like that all day. And I put up a GIF today with Shawn Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty from the WWE the day that the Rockers split and went solo, when Shawn Michaels kicked the sweet chin music on Marty Jannetty. Democratic gonna kick you in the chin over and over again. Why are you still trying to be part of that team? Stop it, Bernie. Stop it. All right, so we're going to go to the next one. Just give me a moment. All right.
Meet Joe. Joe can't find a job. He would drive for a ride-sharing company, but he...
Giving advice and counsel.
I don't know how this popping up. Roland Martin. Give me a moment. All right. Give me a second. All right, so I don't know what's going on here. Just bear with me. All right, I'm gonna go over some of these comments. Anybody got any questions? How do you feel about while I'm looking this up? How you feel about the race so far? And what do you think needs to happen for what need to happen in order for to make a catch up, make a comeback? Can Bernie Sanders make a comeback? Can Bernie Sanders make a comeback? Okay. Leave your comments there at the bottom. Thing won't show what I need. Okay.
Hi, I'm Rex Moore with the Motley Fool in front of BMW's self-driving exhibit at CES in Las Vegas.
I think we went over this.
Hey, good evening. I'm Brett Van.
I think we went over this. Give me a moment. Let's do it this way. All right, so we're going to do it another way because this way is clearly not working for me. So let me see if I can do it, because we haven't gone over all of them. So give me a moment.
Hey, this is your boy Bob TV.
All right, so let me go over here and let's try this. All right, let's see.
And it needs to stop now, or we're going to look for. I'm going to talk about another DNC mistakes that seem to be repeating itself. And it needs to stop now, or we're going to look for 8 years of Trump versus 4 years of Trump. 8 years of Trump versus 4. If you don't stop this now, we already lost. First of all, DNC and DNC operative and Hillary Clinton supporter or Hillary Clinton, what you call surrogates, this is what you got to stop.
in an exit interview with Rolling Stone magazine, which included a photograph of the outgoing president seated on his Oval Office desk, looking pensive, if not exhausted. Rolling Stone founder Jan Wenner asked if Mr. Obama still regards the United States as a progressive country. That led the president to discuss the large numbers of white working-class voters who elected him twice, but who voted this time around for Mr. Trump. Part of it, the president said, has to do with our inability, our failure to reach those voters effectively. Part of it is Fox News in every bar and restaurant in big chunks of the country. But part of it is also Democrats not working at a grassroots level, being in there, showing up, making arguments. That part of the critique of the Democratic Party is accurate, unquote.
I believe that the Comey letter was a foul deed. It was a wrong thing to do. I have had great admiration for Director Comey. I think that he just couldn't take the heat. I think there should be an investigation, and we'll figure out how to call for that, of how Giuliani knew 2 days before that something was coming. It has been the practice of prosecutors and U.S. attorneys historically not to release that kind of information, even when they think it's significant, so close to an election. And Director Comey said, I don't know if this is significant. It really just changed everything. And I think the American people deserve an investigation into how a foreign government had an impact on our election.
What happened?
Well, look, I think the answer to that question is complicated. I think you heard some of it last week from Jennifer Palmieri and from Secretary Clinton herself and John Podesta. I think there were a number of factors, and I do think it's wise for us to take a step back and recognize that it's going to take a little time to fully understand what happened, but I'll offer a couple of thoughts. I mean, number one, I think one of the things we saw, there were a number of headwinds that just proved to be too strong. Electing the first woman president was always going to be tough. And I think given the level of sexism and misogyny that we saw come to the surface and be very public, I think that supports the fact that in this country we're going to have a real conversation about that. This was also the first election that we had without the protections of the Voting Rights Act. And I think there's a lot of good work going on now to try to understand what kind of implications that may have had. I also think that one of the things we have to take a look at is, what happened with the third-party votes, because in a number of cases, Hillary, lost some key states by very close margins in places where perhaps that third-party vote could have made up the difference. So I think there are any number of factors. I also happen to believe, having been on the road, the Comey letter did have an impact on our momentum. It was palpable, frankly, in some of the places that I visited. I was traveling, as you know, pretty consistently since the convention with Tim Kaine, and so had a real sense of what was happening on the ground. So again, I think there are a confluence of a whole host of things that there's not one simple answer to what happened here.
On the Comey letters, Karen, it has been in the reporting and kind of the conversations coming out of donor phone calls and with Hillary Clinton and other members of Team Clinton, it's been described, the Comey letters, as one hurdle too many for the campaign to overcome. Without the Comey letters, would you guys have won? Are you sure of that?
You can never be sure of anything in hindsight, but what I would say is it certainly felt that way. And again, having been on the road, we were seeing increasing sizes of crowds, increasingly people were more emotional on some of these rope lines, which is something that you tend to see, frankly, when you are getting towards the end and people, the momentum is there with you because people, they believe you might be the person who is holding in their hand the future of their family. And so the energy and enthusiasm, but also just the intensity that we were seeing. And then we did see, it did feel a bit different, and there did seem to be a bit of a difference. Like I say, I can only speak to what was happening on the ground and what I saw and felt and then saw in the numbers. So I think it certainly played a role and was an important factor. In addition, though, to the fact that here we were talking about things like the Clinton Foundation for months and months and months and months, when what do we know about the foundation? The Clintons don't get any money from it. They actually do real charitable work versus the Trump Foundation, which, you know, used its money to buy portraits of Donald Trump.
Karen?
I raise that to say, hold on, I do think that the media plays a role, and the coverage of this campaign is another piece that's going to have to be examined in its aftermath.
At the very beginning, you said you thought that sexism and misogyny may have played a role in Hillary Clinton's defeat, and I think there's no question that a lot of things were said in this campaign that many people deemed as sexist and misogynist. But what evidence do you have that voters made their decisions based on sexism or misogyny?
Well, look, I think I think a couple of things, right? Number one, I think one of the things we never really had a conversation about that, again, I think going forward we should talk about is how this country, how people feel about women in power. There is a reason that it is so hard for women, you know, that we haven't had a female president before, and that it's harder for women candidates in executive positions. There are a lot of dynamics around that. So I guess I would say I would offer that as, you know, some evidence, and I think there's a lot of good research on that. I certainly think that there was the narrative about Hillary and the sort of very ugly signs that I can't actually repeat the words that were said about Hillary, and the sort of sentiment and the chants, I think, contributed to a narrative about her as someone who was untrustworthy, even in places where that just wasn't true. There just wasn't evidence to bear that fact out. And I'll be really honest, and some of my colleagues won't like this, but I think, you know, look, even in the primary, some of what we saw with the Bernie bros had a real chilling effect on a lot of women, and young women in particular. We learned about it during the primary. There were a number of these secret Facebook groups of young progressive women who were supporting Hillary, but frankly, they didn't want to deal with the backlash online from some of the Bernie bros. So again, I think, you know, there's a lot of pieces to sort of tease out in this conversation.
A couple things. I mean, on the foundation bit, and there's nothing to argue on it, but we did cover very extensively. I mean, the Trump campaign didn't like how much that we talked about the Trump Foundation. I mean, that was extensively covered. I just want to point that out, and I know that you know that. But when it comes to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, did you guys underestimate Donald Trump, do you think?
You know, I think that's hard to say. You know, again, I think one of the other pieces that we're going to have to learn about what happened here is, did everybody underestimate what was going on in the electorate? I mean, again, I think the fact that it was so close suggests that we didn't see a significant, massive realignment, but I think it shows that, you know, we are a closely divided country. That's something we know, and that we are a country that is undergoing a tremendous moment of turmoil and change. And so I think...
But Karen, I think the question is, what we haven't heard in our conversation yet is, where do you see that the Clinton campaign got it wrong?
That's right. Stop blaming everybody but your own team. Stop blaming the Bernie or Bust people. Stop blaming WikiLeaks. Hey, it's not WikiLeaks' fault because your candidate was involved in disobeying the State Department, disobeying the NSA, and decided to put their own server in their house. It's not their fault. They didn't put the server in there. It's not their fault that she was communicating back and forth on that server. It's not their fault that Obama was communicating back and forth with her on that server and other people. It's not their fault that that server was hacked. Well, we don't have any evidence. What idiot's going to leave evidence? What kind of evidence you want? A picture, fingerprints, blood stains? Come on now. A smart thief don't leave evidence. That's the purpose of a smart thief, to be able to break in your house and take your stuff without leaving evidence. Who leaves evidence? Who wants to get caught? Come on, man. So it's not the Bernie or Bust fault. It's not WikiLeaks. It's not Comey. Oh, Comey damaged us. You were damaged from the jump start. That didn't help or hurt. People already made up their mind by then whether they're going to vote for you or not. I told you, get your base out. But no. You insult a lot of your bases, call them deplorable. Someone was on the fence for you and Trump. You call the Bernie Sanders supporters basement dwellers. Come on, I mean, you insult the base. I don't need you. I'll go get some Republicans. These are the things. You got to look in your own backyard. Number one, you shouldn't have been running her anyway. You shouldn't have been running her anyway. By looking at her record of her achievement was enough. It's not telling people that she was this and this and this. She was first lady. She was she started a legal defense fund. She State Department. She ran. She was 2 years. She was state senator. And no, what did she do? Was she successful? What did she do? Do she take PAC money? Do she take super PAC money? How much do she kiss up the lobbyists and all that? See, people don't want that. The reason Hillary Clinton lost this election is because people rejected establishment politics because they know establishment politics never get stuff done for them. They always get stuff done for the donor class, the high donor class, the lobbyists. That's why she lost. It wasn't Bernie, it wasn't Comey, it wasn't none of it. It wasn't Julian Assange, even though it helped, even though they exposed them. It was running her in the first place. She was a flawed candidate. I did videos way back in April about that. She is a flawed candidate. Don't run flawed candidate. David Dukakis, flawed. I can go on and on. One scandal come out and that was it. It was time for you to sit down. She had scandals coming out on the daily. You should have sat her butt down when the first scandal came out and tapped in Bernie, who had no scandals, no baggage, none of that stuff, who was beating, stomping Trump in the polls. And the superdelegates I blame, that's a separate one. Superdelegates I blame because they knew she had all these flaws. Just because she was a Clinton, you just assume everybody loved the Clintons, they're going to vote for her. No, 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 no. She's a flawed candidate with a Clinton name, and that name itself was flawed. For whatever reason, because maybe she hooked you guys up in the Senate and things like that and went and campaigned for you and you owe her. You decide to run her. And now you're seeing a person who had the same ability to churn up the base, bring in new people to the voting booth, bringing in the independents into the Democratic Party. You saw this person, and you assume, well, we still gonna go with Hillary Clinton, but this person gonna endorse her, and all these people just gonna flock to her. Dumb DNC mistakes, dumb. You ran the wrong candidate. She was flawed. All this pandering, all this two-faces, these lies going back and forth, the issue with the State Department and how she failed at that, the Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton himself, and the list go on. Those are the reasons why she lost. You look at your mistakes now. Stop blaming other people. My mama say a leader always take responsibility for a situation or circumstance. It's my fault. It's our fault. It's things that we've done wrong. It's things that the DNC done wrong. David Wasserman Schultz trying to cheat for her. Donna Brazile handing out questions to her. Come on, all these things. Screwing Bernie Sanders, who was the real one to run. These are your mistakes. Nobody else's. Stop blaming other people for your mistakes. Listen to your own. Look into your own house before you start throwing stones outside your glass. However they say it. You got a glass house, baby, that's had a glass ceiling on top. And before you start, and just because you couldn't crack it, before you start, the reason you couldn't take that stone and throw it at the glass ceiling and cause it to come down and you can reach and soar the greatest heights is because you're doing the same thing again. You're taking that glass and throwing it at somebody else outside the glass house. Guess who it's going to hit first? It's going to hit your glass. Look at your own reasons why you didn't win. It was your fault for running her in the first place. A failed, flawed, lying, habitual, pathological, lying, pandering, kissing up butt, trying to get all the money she can, politicians, at the expense of not really doing nothing for the people. While Donald Trump hollered the whole time, I'm going to bring back jobs. I'm going to help out the black community. I'm going to bring back jobs. Despite of him saying he's grabbing butts and all that kind of stuff, and despite all that, the people heard he's going to bring back jobs. I can bring back jobs. I know how to negotiate, you know. She didn't talk that language. And one of the things that really irks me is here we got a man who's supposed to be the racist in the game, got a black initiative to help black people in the inner cities and other cities abroad, who's talked about investing in the black communities, investing in historical black colleges, helping bringing extra incentives to companies that decide to come back to America and move into the inner cities, like Detroit and all that. You want to know why Trump got 15% of the black vote and Hillary didn't get it? Because he talked the language that she did not talk. Obama proved it by not doing it, and she wasn't going to say she's going to do it. Trump said he did it, and he got the black votes, he got some Hispanic votes. Now, I went to a Trump meeting, I went to all the meetings, and I went and I was surprised. There was no fussing, there was no racism, none of that stuff. People was there because they believed Donald Trump would bring change to the entire system. Those are the type of candidates you need to run. People who pose to bring change to an entire system. Bernie was that person, and you refused to let him go against Donald Trump. And that's why you lost on Bob TV. Holla at you later. Peace.
All right. Just touching bases with you, let you see if you guys are still out there. I'm going to go to, I think I got 2 more and then we done. And I want to say what's up to the people on Facebook. I just learned how to connect this thing where I can do YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So what up, Facebook? What up? What it do? Let's see. I did running untrusted candidates. All right, let me get to the playlist. Let me get to the entire playlist. Dumb DNC mistakes. Where are you? Let's see. All right, give me a moment, guys. Give me a moment. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate your patience. I guess that's not it. All right. And let me go back here. Like I'm gonna have to search it. Come on, man. Can't find my own playlist. Can't find my own playlist. Let's see. Dumb DNC mistakes. Yeah, boy. I hope y'all been watching this Bernie Sanders Wars cartoon. It's hilarious. Let's see. All right, there we go. All right.
See that bright brain full of activity? That's a healthy 18.
All right, so we did blame everybody but you. Oh, this one, disenfranchise. Here we go.
Hey, welcome to Freedom on Fire. We're still going through this series on what we did wrong, what we need to make it right, concerning the loss, the terrible beat down, the smack down, the pulverization, the stomping, the rock bottom of the DNC and Hillary Clinton in this election. What went wrong and how you can fix it. This is what went wrong. Don't make the mistake of marginalizing the independents. Don't make the mistake of marginalizing the independent. If you want to win the future elections for a long time, stop playing politics. Stop trying to get your favored and open up all the primaries. I say get rid of the caucuses, I get rid of the all that stuff and just open the primaries to a straight vote. Allow independents like me to pick and choose who I want. If you need me to join your party, I'll join your party. That's what I did with Bernie Sanders. I joined the Democratic Party because I wanted him to become the president. Do you understand, by you opening up the primaries, you bring in people to the Democratic Party. By you closing the primary, you marginalizing those who wouldn't mind being in the Democratic Party to vote for the person that's in your party. That was dumb. Never underestimate the independent base, because they are huge. They're bigger than the Republican base and the Democratic base combined. And the reason Donald Trump won is because you marginalize the independent base. You put, in some places you put the date to switch over about 6 months before the actual date of voting in particular areas. That should be a month. You should leave the date of changing your affiliation a month before the election. That will help you win. You should open the primaries, allow people to vote, allow independents to vote, allow third party to vote for your candidate. There's a lot of third party people. If they see a strong progressive candidate, they'll support that strong progressive candidate. That's me. Independents will support that strong progressive candidate. So that right there is a big mistake. That right there is never underestimate the independents. In New York alone, 3 million independents didn't get a chance to vote for a Democrat in the primary. And who cares? I know you wanted your golden girl, but who cares running? You don't favor anybody. If you would have opened the primaries up, we would have had, in a landslide, Bernie Sanders. He would have won New York. He would have won in a landslide if you would have opened up the primaries and got the date of changing 1 month before. He would have solidified it, and you would have had a strong candidate to run against Donald Trump. Remember I said it wasn't important for you to defeat Donald Trump. The most important strategy was to find somebody to defeat Donald Trump, and as you can see with evidence, Hillary Clinton was not it. Bernie Sanders was. So don't marginalize the independent base. I'm Bob TV. Peace.
Again, that is another point that the Democrats did not listen at all. That you got a lot of independents, and look, don't get me wrong, some independents did vote for Joe Biden. And before I go into the next video, let's talk about that for a second. Why are independents voting for Joe Biden? Well, I got to look at this right here and let you know that one of the reasons why independents kind of moved away from Bernie in this election. Let's have that hard talk. I'm going to do a separate video about it. Let me get me up here. Give me a moment. All right. One of the reasons why a lot of independents went to vote for Joe Biden in these states, even states that were harmed by Joe Biden, is this. Number one, you got to go back and spend quality time with the people that you're trying to give me a moment, that you're trying to reach out to. You're not going to get the black vote, Bernie Sanders, with your you can bring Jesse Jackson. You can put Jesse Jackson on your ticket. That ain't enough. You can get Killer Mike. You can get Louis Farrakhan. It don't matter. You're not going to win the black vote if you yourself don't go down there and spend quality time and talk about their needs. Let them tell you. Get a round table and listen to it. Write it down. And then go out and talk about how you're going to fulfill their needs. You would have had a whole bunch of black people come out. You know, a lot of people say black people just stupid. They don't know what they're doing. They voting against their best interest. Now, I can tell you this. A lot of us are slut voters. We vote because of emotions. That's what happened in South Carolina. James Clyburn said, look, I told him to stop talking about policy and make these people feel good. Mother, feel good. That don't pay the bills, man. I don't want to feel good. I feel good after I get some policies passed. When I know I can go to the doctor and get a colonoscopy and don't have to worry about the fee and the pain. Still got to deal with the pain, but I don't have to worry about the fee. I mean, I don't want to be drinking that nasty stuff and knowing I got to pay for it at the same time. Look, I'll drink it. I ain't got to pay for it. So you got to talk to the needs of the people that you need to get out and vote. And there need to be a serious, actually get out and vote. Drive, buses, trains. Look, let's make sure people get in the polls. Let's accommodate them while they're waiting for those long lines. Where's the sodas? Where the sandwiches? You know, you got to really get out to vote and have people out there in the campaign to accommodate the people who are voting, no matter who voting for. I don't care if they're voting for Joe Biden. You accommodate the people out there in the lines to make them feel good, to make them feel comfortable about staying in the line and vote. You got to have your people out there watching the polls. You can't trust their people to watch the polls. You got to have your own team. You got to have your own lawyers. You got to have your own crew that's out there with cameras and stuff to see what's going on that might be fishy. More important again, you have to cater to the people out there in the field. You know there are going to be long lines. You know it's going to be hot. So find place, go out there with your Bernie shirts on and put up shades so people can be cool. Offer drinks, offer water, whatever. Make them feel comfortable. They may be touched by that. But one of the reasons is that if you're in a state that's been hit by certain industries, hit hard, you got to go out there and remind those people who Joe Biden is. And you got to let them know, look, Joe Biden's not my friend when it comes to this, and he ain't your friend when it comes to this. We all got friends that make dumb mistakes, and we all got friends that we totally in direct direction among one another. But when it comes to this, he ain't my friend. See, I got a friend of mine. A friend of mine who got on drugs real bad, all cracked up. That's my friend. But when it comes to him and drugs, Doc, you better get out of my face. Deep down inside, he's still my friend, but I'm not letting him know we're friends. That coddles a person. That makes them feel comfortable. They believe that you're not going to attack them. But like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, he hugged Shawn. Let me see if I can pull that video up. I'll tell you, it's a good example of that there's a time and place for my friend, and there's a time and place for we ain't got time for friendship. All right, give me a moment. All right, so guys, this gonna be kind of funny. I mean, if you don't like wrestling, then don't watch this. But this is a clear example of what's going on with the Democratic Party and Bernie Sanders. Democratic Party being Shawn Michaels and Bernie Sanders being Marty Jannetty, and he need to turn that thing around, and he need to be Shawn Michaels and Joe Biden, Marty Jannetty. Watch this. That's my show right there, man. That's my show. I probably get a copyright strike for this, but this is a prime example of a debate.
Specialists, and recently they wrestled Legion of Doom and nearly took their titles away. Let's welcome them right now. They're the Rockers.
Now I'm gonna fast forward it.
Recently there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of rumors flying, guys. I gotta tell you, it's even right here in the pages of the World Wrestling Federation magazine that maybe you guys are gonna break up. You've been having some problems, but I want to get you out here on the barbershop so we can talk about this thing and get it all straight once and for all, right from the horse's mouth.
Well, let me tell you something, Beefcake. There's no doubt that the Rockers are without a doubt the tightest team in the World Wrestling Federation. And I know that the rumors have been flying, but I can assure you, as the captain of this team, as the guy that has put all of this together, that there are absolutely no problems with the Rockers whatsoever. I can assure you of that.
I thought Jannetty was the captain.
Hold on, one thing right now, Sean.
Didn't think there was one.
Let's don't come out here and lie to the people. Everybody here knows there is friction between the Rockers. Let's get it straight tonight. Let's straighten the thing out. First of all, listen to yourself. The captain of the Rockers, nobody ever picked a captain for this team. We've done everything together. Let's take a few weeks back. We had a match on television. We almost lost because I went for the tag and you were down the apron somewhere flirting with a girl ringside.
Hey, what do you want from me, huh? Chicks dig me. I can't help it. You know.
That's fine. How about another match with the Nasty Boys, a big match? I'm on top. I've got the guy beat. The next thing
Okay, this is debate. This is how debate's supposed to go.
Back and forth. Is that we're going to come out here and shoot the blame back and forth? Fine, let's do that. Let's just do that.
This is how debate's supposed to be, like wrestling.
Him the wrestling lesson of his life. And then here you come to save the day. Good job. Good job.
First of all, Sean, I didn't come out there to save the day. I came out there because
all right, let me get to this part.
You know that.
Sounds fair to you. When I turn around, we're gonna shake hands and we're gonna go on a rock and roll like the Rockers can do.
It's that Joe Biden, my friend.
Sounds fair to me. He's not gonna walk away. They need each other.
Joe Biden, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rockers!
Told you. Glad to see that.
Told you.
Tag team specialists.
See, one without the other isn't any good.
Oh, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew he was going to do that. He don't need Jannetty.
I told you that off and on.
Are you kidding? What a despicable act that was.
No! Oh, my God.
Right through the glass window of the barber shop.
Jannetty tried to dive through the window to escape.
He talking about he tried to dive through the window, escape. This is exactly how the Democratic Party did Bernie Sanders and how they continue to do Bernie Sanders, and he's still trying to form a friendship, form a partnership. Get out of here with that stuff, man. Get out of here with this stuff. All right, so you got the Democratic Party. They kicked him dead in the face a couple of weeks ago. They're letting you know they're not your friends. They're not going to coalesce behind you. So don't worry about it. Even if you get the nomination, if you win, if you catch up in delegate counts and you get the popular vote, they're still not going to coalesce around you, Bernie Sanders. And that's the sad part, because they never wanted you. They don't want you taking over their party. They like the party the way it is. It ain't gonna happen. We can push you to the top. Everybody can get behind you and vote you in, and you still think that it's got to. Party got to do what I tell them to do now. I'm the nominee. No, they'll still find some way within the bylaws. They'll find some loophole to screw you out of it and kick you in the chin just like that and throw you in the window just like that. You got to stop doing this Joe Biden, my friend stuff. All right, so we're going to go to the next dumb DNC mistake, and we're almost done. All right, give me a moment. Give me the moment.
Hey, this is your boy Bob TV. Welcome to Freedom on Fire. Still going through this series of what went wrong and what we can do right the next election. Listen to me very close. This is one of the most important mistakes.
This is going to happen again.
Assuming that they all going to fall in line. Assuming that they're all going to fall in line. In other words, hold up, what is this, lunch line? Where do we get this philosophy that people are going to fall in line? This is not the freaking military. This is not the army. And this is not boot camp. And this is not the prison system. They're all going to fall in line. We're not your slaves. They're all going to fall in line. Listen to this.
A fair amount of drama yesterday, the first night on the convention floor. You still got a lot of angry Bernie Sanders supporters. What more needs to be done to unify this party?
I don't think anything more has to be done, George. Look, think about it. They went out and busted their neck for the better part of a year. They came close. They've had more impact on the Democratic Party than all the other delegates combined, and they're beginning to realize it.
Except you saw Sarah Silverman last night call out some of those Bernie or bust delegates saying they're being ridiculous.
Sure, she did, but that's, look.
Is she right?
Look, it's a process, man. You know, it's you got to give people a chance to kind of get over it, and they're getting over it.
But what do you say to when one of those Bernie delegates comes to you and says, listen, I'm just not going for Hillary. I'm standing by my principles.
You know, I look at you, I said, I know you're going to go for Hillary. I know you're not.
How do you know?
I just know because you're as moral and centered as you say you are. I know you can't vote for Trump. I know.
What's it going to take to convince them?
They're already convinced. They're just angry.
They don't sound convinced.
Oh, they're going to be. Look, I mean, I wish we could follow every delegate who says, I'm not going with Hillary into the polling booth.
You're
Vice President Joe Biden telling Robin Roberts this election is Hillary Clinton's to win.
So I feel confident that Hillary will be the nominee, and I feel confident she'll be the next president.
Until now, the administration only going as far as a joke.
Next year at this time, someone else will be standing here in this very spot, and it's anyone's guess who she will be. But
they're going to be fine. Look, they worked hard. We had to show a little class and let them be frustrated for a while. It's okay.
Okay, John, you got it?
Hey, they're all going to end up voting for Hillary. Come on, man. Do you think any of these guys are going to walk in and vote for Trump? Raise your hand if you think any of the people who are protesting here or hollering are going to go vote for Trump.
Some say they will. Some say they will.
Well, they didn't support what Bernie stands for.
See that right there? That right there. That big mouth-ism of Joe Biden. Don't get me wrong, I like Joe Biden. Don't get me wrong, I like him. I love me some Joe Biden. I love his grit, his aggressiveness. But the way he just, that arrogance of the Democratic Party to think all the Democrats got to fall in line. And then if somebody think about going somewhere and say, I'm not going to fall in line, you're going to take your better shame and try to beat them with it. Shame on you. That's forcing and manipulating the election to go the way you want. That's no different from the Nazis, forcing people to go vote for their candidate. That is a type of fascism. When you try to do what they call control opposition and manipulate them with guilt and shame into voting for your candidate. And that's the reason why Hillary Clinton didn't get beat as bad as much. And that's the reason why third parties like Jill Steiner will never get no traction, because you try to tell them, well, if you go that way, then you're going to allow that person to get. No, if both of y'all go that way, you can beat that person. Because that person over here may be better than the person right here that we're trying to fall in line with. And the person we're falling in line has so many scandals, and you want us to fall in line. Making the mistake that the Bernie Sanders, remember they told you, Bernie or bust was real. Oh, oh, that Bernie or bust stuff is not real. Oh, they're all going to fall in line. No, they didn't. Where are they going to go? Donald Trump? Yes, some of them did. And that's why you got your behind spring. Look, come on, let them blow off some steam. Let them, it always happens, you know, we getting floor fly. So y'all let them blow some steam. After it's all done, they're all gonna vote for Hillary Clinton. Sound like a dummy, Joe. Smart man with no wisdom. They all didn't go for her. Matter of fact, millions left the Democratic Party and became independents and voted for Donald Trump. Why? Because the person that they really wanted to vote for, they didn't get a chance to vote for him. You got to understand, Democratic, National DNC, whoever's in charge, Bernie Sanders know this, Keith Ellison, you got to understand, most of Bernie Sanders supporters were not Democrats. A lot of them was independents. That message resonated from the Democratic Party, half of it, to the Independent Party, and even some Republican parties. He was the favorite to win. If you thought with your head, listen to the polls and watch the demographic. But no, you just had to get the golden girl in there, because she's not going to mess up what y'all built. And that was this prestige, this wealth, newfound wealth coming because of her hands being in all these cookie jars, forgetting about the people who put you in office. Don't you dare make this mistake again. Do not marginalize your own base and the independent base that were committed to voting for your candidate. You had two candidates at the time. You chose the wrong one. You had one that if you chose them, the independents would have been excited. A lot of them didn't get a chance to vote for Bernie, and they was ready to vote for him. But you locked them out in the primaries. But yet they would have forgave you, and if you would have made him the nominee, they would have thrown their vote in for him instead of Donald Trump. So no, Joe, they all them, and then you see these false advertisements saying 99% of Bernie or bust people are going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Oh, Bernie is campaigning, they all going to come out in droves in support of Hillary Clinton. Nope, it didn't happen. That would never happen. It would never happen. Don't underestimate. When you marginalize people, when you take them for granted, when you call them names like deplorables, when you call them names like bottom dwellers, basement dwellers, when you say things that we don't need your vote, when you go out there and court Republicans because you want to be so arrogant that I don't need the Sanders vote, I'll go out there and get me some Republicans. And then when you just shun progressive people instead of making Bernie Sanders the vice president, which he would help you win, you didn't even choose Elizabeth Warren. You even spit in the face of progressive even more by hiring Tim Corporate Kaine, the worst VP pick you could ever hire. And all because of this, you marginalized a portion of your base, and your base didn't do what you thought. They went, and some of them went and voted green, some of them voted libertarian, and some of them voted for Donald Trump. Some of them said anybody but lying, cheating, and stealing Hillary Clinton.
I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie, I cheat, I steal. Yo.
That's her theme song. So mistake is assuming that everybody's going to go for the contender, the one you selected to run in the general. Don't ever assume that. Go out there and reassure your base that you're going to give them their vision for America, not yours. I'm Bob TV. Peace.
All right. I think we got one more, and we're about done for tonight. Did the pandering, running untrusted candidates, never run establishment candidates, taking your opponent for a joke, neglecting the burn your bus movement, and disenfranchise the independents. Is that the same thing? I think we did them all. Let's see. Blame everybody. Disenfranchise independents, neglecting Bernie bus, taking your opponent for a joke, never run establishment candidate, running an untrusted candidate, pandering. All right, yep, that is it. All right. All right, guys, that's it. Now, before we go, you know I care about you. I love you. This coronavirus thing is going on. Folks, stop listening to what other people say about the coronavirus and get on the CDC website, get on the World Health Organization site and get the truth about it. The media is going to spin this. You got to understand, the media has a money mission into making this thing super bigger than what it really is, because it's money for their donors. It's money for the people who finance those media companies, people like the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the insurance industry. This thing is big profit for them. So they're going to try to squeeze every dollar out of this as they can. So on the news, they're going to prop this thing up and scare the freaking crap out you to make you scared that as soon as you open the door, a virus going to jump on you and you're going to end up being like what the thing is on Spider-Man? Venom? you're going to turn into Venom if that thing get on you. It's not. All right, get educated. Right now on the CDC website, there's some myths, some dumb, stupid myths. I'm not going to go over it. You go on the website. They are the professionals. They'll tell you what's going on with this myth. You know, so many myths, you know, they live in your beard. Viruses are not bacteria, okay? Corona is a virus. It's not a bacteria. It has to be transferred. It has to get in you, not just on you. Okay, it has to get in you. But go to the website and take a look at it. I'm not going to try to act like I'm the expert, but some of these things are dumb. Like I was told about the mask, you know, the different type of mask. It was talk about the people that really have colds are the ones that need to be wearing that mask. The masks don't necessarily protect you because it's, you know, it's not to the extent that most people think. Okay, the mask is mainly for those who have colds, those who have viruses, those who are dealing with a sickness or ailment. Put your mask on. Don't be coughing on other people. Don't cough in your hand, then you got to shake other people's hand. You know, to me, coughing into your clothes is almost the same thing. Just wear a mask. So if you cough, it won't go any further than that mask. You know, people always, you know, have some gloves, have some disinfectant wipes with you. You know, you ain't got to carry the whole big thing of disinfectant wipe. Take about 10 of them, put it in a Ziploc and carry that with you. Wipe down where you sit. I mean, on the trains, they going all off, man. They spraying the seats down, which you want to do that because you don't want to take no chances on the freaking train. But that ain't gonna stop that person that come in from coughing in your face or coughing on you. So you got to protect yourself and make sure that none of that stuff can get in your eyes. Plus, the CDC talked about how you can kind of test yourself in a sense to see if you could possibly need to be tested. Not necessarily that you got it. One of the things that they talked about the 3-strike test. That means you hold your breath for 60 seconds, and if you end up coughing throughout that, not 60 seconds, that's a long time, was it 10 seconds or something like that? If you cough too much every time you hold your breath for 10 seconds, that could mean you got some respiratory issues. And the deaths on this thing, that most of the people who died are people who got respiratory issues. They're mostly older people. So don't get in a panic over this, because panic just fueled the situation. Be smart about it. Get educated. CDC and the World Health Organization. Not the news, not the TV, CDC, World Health Organization. And even then, you still got to have the one eye up with them too, because a lot of them got agendas too. They need funding to keep running these organizations because they're donations that goes to this organization to keep it alive, and you don't know who's giving them the donation. But definitely listen to them more than you listen to ABC News, CBC, CNN, and all that kind of stuff. You know, you don't trust them with these politics, you definitely ain't going to trust them with your health. Get educated about it and learn the myths and pros and cons of this horrible disease that's going around the world today. Again, make sure you're protected. If you get sick, this is why we need to change the game. This is why I understand why people vote for these corporate centrist moderates. That's not going to do anything. We need, here in New York, we're trying to push 10 paid health days off, 10 PTO days. We already got by law 5 sick days paid. But yet in other countries, they got like a month. They only work 30 hours a week and get paid like they worked 60 hours in other countries, in other socialist countries. So there's a lot of things that we got to really, you know, they ain't got to worry about healthcare. They can go right in for some reason. You don't hear about the coronavirus really tearing up those places, right? Norway, Denmark, Sweden. You know, places where they really invest in their people. Hey, anybody get sick, they can go straight to the doctor. They still gonna get paid. You get sick and you got bills, you're gonna be tempted to go to work. Because two things gonna happen if you don't. You ain't gonna make no money for the day, and you're gonna lose some money for the day. So you got to deal with a doctor bill and the fact that you didn't have any income coming in for that day because you had to take that day off. Thank God for New York City and being a progressive city that we believe that workers should have at least 10 days just in case. Just in case by law. 5 sick days and 10 days for whatever you want. You can do it for more sick time. You can do it for I'm sick of looking at you on my job. You can do it for whatever you want. A mental day. The organization I'm looking at right now, they have mental days, paid mental days in their contract. Right off the bat, you get 4 weeks vacation. I worked the job almost 10 years and didn't even get 3 weeks vacation. But the organization that I'm learning to work, I'm training to work with right now, they offer 4 weeks paid, not earned. You get it off the bat. As soon as probation over with, you're good to go. Anyway, let me see who's up here because I'm done. I did all the dumb DNC mistakes. Who's up here? Let's see if I can get up here. All right, so old Gringo. Hey, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that, old Gringo. I really appreciate it. You've always been there, always been a fan. Karen M, Fred Edwards, TJ Mills. I don't think I ever had you up here, TJ. Appreciate you joining, brother. Papa Onaya Shelley. Yeah, I got lights all somewhere around here. And you got people doing stuff. They spraying they spraying a child down with a chemical. Not understanding the fumes from the chemical is not good either. You're going to kill yourself trying to kill a virus. It's a virus. It's not a bacteria. It's not a germ. It's a virus. My thing is, you can carry a can of Lysols. Me, I would have the Lysol wipes, gloves, hand sanitizer, hand soap, because the soap you get in the restaurants or something like that, they claim to be, medically induced. But have your own hand sanitizer, your own hand soap. Have you some wipes if you're using public transportation. They're telling you, be kind of careful on public transportation. I mean, there's a lot of fear going on. They talking Trump just shut down Europe from coming here because of what was happening in France. So it's a lot of, by them elevating this thing to a pandemic status, people learn what Big Rob learn what he know from the CDC and the World Health Organization. I'm not listening to mama, cousin, uncle, Susie, none of that. I can't. I don't want nobody to listen to me. Go to the CDC website, go to the World Health Organization website. You don't want to end up like, whole place going to end up being like an episode of of The Living Dead, you know, The Walking Dead. I mean, all right, so guys, I appreciate you being on the stream. I love you, and we're gonna be back on tomorrow. Let me see who else up here. Steve S 1964, what's up? Our Revolution MSU, what's up? Teresa 78201. I try to stay dressed. I try to stay dressed as much as I can. But yeah, guys, I love you. I will holler at you later. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let it drop down, hit the always, because I'm always doing Rod Report on the go. This Bobby Brown show is coming back this Saturday. And if you want to support the channel, I'm doing the 20 by 20 still. I didn't reach my goal, so it's going to carry over. You can always donate at paypal.me/BobTVNYC, all caps. And looking at the delegate math when it comes to Bernie and Joe, don't sweat that. It's not even halftime yet. It's almost, but it's not halftime yet. And the score is 60-80. What fool drops out? What fool throw in the towel and forfeit the game when it's not even halftime yet and you're trailing 60-20? Better put your Michael Jordan in the game and win this thing. At least take it to a hour, on wire, or take it all the way to overtime. Guys, before I go, we're talking about Bernie had made some major mistakes in legislating, but I have to honestly be able to say there are few than most. The average politician, most of their policies that they push have harmed not just black people, not just people of color, but harm Americans in general. Joe Biden is one of those guys. You ask me, I see no difference between Joe Biden and Trump. Now, like I said on the video at the time, I had no problem with Joe because I never really put him on my laser to take a look at him. Because when it came to that relationship between him and Obama, I mainly looked at Obama because Joe Biden was a silent partner. Usually the VP is a silent partner, an advisor. So I never really looked at Joe Biden. But then I looked deeply into the crime bill a little bit more. And when Joe Biden brags about this thing, I really got to know him. And just for the simple fact you're bragging about a policy, there's so many people who signed off for it. Some of them was literally trapped into signing off for it because they put so much stuff in that bill that benefits the community. It's like, look, we're gonna get so and so to sign this. He trying to be tough on this 9 all in my face, but we're gonna force him to sign it because we're gonna put this in the bill. And if he don't sign it, he's done, man. Nobody's gonna want to vote for him again. And so you put yourself in critical positions. You know, some people, they just say flat out no. Some people say, oh man, I would never do this, but man, what I'm going to do about these few pieces of pork in here that my community could use. So some of the things, some of the situations are a little bit different than we really think about until we take a look at it. That bill was horrible. He voted for it. So did James Clyburn. So did a lot of black people. So did a lot of a lot of people voted for that. A bunch of Republicans voted for that. Joe Biden's bill. Now I want you to hear that. Joe Biden's most disastrous bill. I call it one of the top 5 anti-black bills in America. A bill that directly was designed to attack black people. Proudly written by Joe Biden. And Bernie says need to hit this on. He kind of hesitant about hitting this on the debate stage because he voted for it. But he can use the fact that they trapped me into this thing. And if you go back and look at my videos, I called this out and I jumped on people for this. It's either damned if I do and damned if I don't. But what get Bernie in trouble is you had time to get a black agenda, man, and you haven't gotten one yet. And that is what's killing you in this election. And then, like we always say, black people drive the Democratic primaries because we'll get out in high numbers and vote for you. Now, Joe Biden's not offering black people anything, but black people are comfortable with Joe Biden because he's Barack Obama's friend. Black people don't know Joe Biden's record, so they got so freaking comfortable, they don't want to get up out of the bed to go to the computer and look up his record, because if they did, they would have second thoughts. What do you do about that? Well, that's what people like me and other people are for, but we can't get the message out. You still got to get the message out. You got to say, Mom, have you ever seen Joe Biden's record? Do you name me some of the policies that he voted for? And you got to educate your mama. Well, I heard Bernie Sanders sign on that bill, but yeah, this guy say he created this. He's proud of this bill. That man ain't proud. At least he don't seem like it. Maybe he is undercover, but he's proud. I saw a video of him calling this thing out on the Senate floor. He tried to get some bills to alleviate some of the horribleness of that bill. They offered him all kind of money to his community to help out the people in this community. And I'm not talking about Jewish community. I'm talking about the people of Vermont. And if he didn't sign that bill, he wouldn't be able to get that. And then the people of Vermont had to suffer. For an example, there was a lot of funding to go to community clinics in Vermont, free clinics in Vermont. There was a lot of money in that bill to go to that clinic in Vermont. And to fund shelters and abuse shelters in that bill. In that bill. You see how crafty and how schemy and slimy these politicians in? They got a bill that's horrible and it's going to hurt people. They know you won't vote for it as is. So what they do, they put a little pork in here. If you vote for this, we'll allocate this money to this particular initiative that is in the bill. $14.5 million to community clinics, $12.2 million to build shelters for battered women. They always forget about the battered men, but battered women shelter, men get battered too, bruh. You know, where we go? Well, you know, man, get out of here. So you got to understand the mechanism in this. But people need to know who they're voting for. I don't know how I got off on this. I don't even know what I was talking about. It's late. I'm going to sleep. It's 1:03. You need to go to sleep. I'm Robert Brown. I love you. I'll talk to you later.